Some things in the NBA never change. LeBron James is still throwing down emphatic posters. Steph Curry is still an absolute wizard. In Dame time, well, he's still making bad shots.
3 seconds, Dame pulls for the win!
That's a bad shot.
At the same time, however, some things in the NBA are changing right before our very eyes. 7'5" unicorns are going behind the back for dunks in transition. A Mexican John Wick has entered the league and is cooking LeBron for breakfast. And 7-footers are hitting threes in transition like they're Steph Curry.
They can tie with a 3. Holmgren got it. Oh my goodness.
You know, the 2017 octane-powered Warriors, who many regard as the best team in NBA history, led by a prime Steph Curry, a prime Kevin Durant, and a prime Klay Thompson, were the #1 scoring team in the league at the time with 115.9 points per game. But in today's NBA, they'd be just an average team sitting at number 14 when it comes to points production. How crazy is that? On the same side of that coin, 4 teams in 2024, the Pacers, the Bucks, the Hawks, and the Celtics, have completely figured out how to create unstoppable modern NBA offenses, with each team breaking into the top 20 of all time when it comes to putting the ball into the basket. Change is inevitable, but it seems that as of today, it's happening at a faster rate than we've ever seen before. And as a hardcore NBA fan who can name every champion, every MVP, and every finals MVP off the top of my head with a blindfold on for the past 3 or 4 decades, there's only one word I could say that would describe how I feel. Wow. If you're wondering how fast things can change in the NBA today, look no further than the Western Conference. Last year in 2023, the Timberwolves were the 8th seed and the Oklahoma City Thunder were the 10th seed. One was knocked out in the first round, while the other failed to make the playoffs altogether. With Ant-Man being a force of nature, however, and with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being a surgeon on the court, both teams only had one direction to go, and that was up. What no one could have predicted, however, was just how high up these two teams could have gone. I mean, the Timberwolves didn't really add anything to the roster, while the Thunder, on the other hand, only added a 7-foot rookie, but just like in the blink of an eye, these two young rising teams have skyrocketed to the top of the Western Conference. I know there's still a lot of games left to be played in 2024, but these two teams don't seem to be slowing down one bit. For example, the Timberwolves' Rudy Gobert was recently mocked and insulted by Russell Westbrook and the Clippers as they laughed at his free throw shooting abilities. The Frenchman had the last laugh of the night, however, as he stuffed Kawhi Leonard down the stretch, then made clutch free throw after clutch free throw to give the hottest team in the league an L. It was karma at its best when Westbrook missed a wide-open layup to close out the game. The Oklahoma City Thunder, on the other hand, recently just gave the Portland Trail Blazers a beating they'll remember for the rest of their lives. I mean, you see this nice three-point shot? Well, that cut the lead down to just 55. This 62-point margin victory was the 5th largest in NBA history, and it's clear at this point Scoot Henderson has a lot to learn as a rookie. At the same time, what shocks me is this. So, LeBron is widely regarded as the second best player behind only Michael Jordan, whereas Steph recently entered the top 10 after winning his 4th ring. Both players may be out of what's typical for a player's prime, but they're still playing at MVP caliber levels. LeBron winning the inaugural in-season tournament is proof of that. But yet, here we are today, halfway through the regular season with both of their respective teams sitting outside the play-in tournament. History is in the making. In the Eastern Conference, on the other hand, nothing really new is happening up top. It's the same story as it's been for the past few years. The Celtics and the Bucks are dominating, while the 76ers are trailing just one step behind them and peeking in through the window. The bottom of the East, however, is a completely different story. The Pistons have been pretty bad the past few seasons, but this year they've been historically bad. They recently snapped their 28-game losing streak, but as soon as that streak ended, they were well on their way to another disaster, as they're now on a 7-game losing streak. Actually, check that. As of making this video, they just beat the Washington Wizards. What's funny about this is that just a few weeks ago, when the Pistons had that huge lead on the Celtics, Kyle Kuzma tweeted, "At this point, it's like, don't be that team." And yet, here we are, with the Wizards getting soundly beat and Washington being that team. But anyway, two teams have to really thank the Pistons because the truth is, Detroit's incredible failure is masking their own. I'm talking about the Kuzma's Wizards and the San Antonio Spurs. You see, while everyone was fixated on just how bad the Pistons were, these other two teams have also been racking up L's. As of today, both teams are 7-31, bad enough to be the 31st worst team in NBA history, but if they're not careful and continue to lose just a few more games here and there, they're in danger of entering that top 10 list that no team wants to be on. And I guess this proves that just because you played NBA basketball at a high level doesn't mean you're good at analyzing the game.
Listen, the Spurs should make the playoffs.
At least the Spurs have something to look forward to, though. Victor Wembanyama has been showing us things we've never seen before, from his handles to his dunks to his ability to shoot the ball, while standing 7'5" is incredible, and the Spurs have a bright future ahead of them. The Wizards, on the other hand, have their star player slipping in his own sweat and looking completely lost at this point in terms of where to go for the future. And speaking of slipping, the Memphis Grizzlies have really slipped from grace at this point as well. A few years ago, they were supposed to be the young team on the rise. In 2022, they were the second seed, and in 2023, they were also the second seed. But a few bad decisions by their leader here and there, and they're not even in the play-in picture anymore. NBA coaches really need to be more vigilant than ever when it comes to preparing their teams, because the difference between winning and losing in the NBA today has really become a game of inches. It's no wonder why Darko Rajakovic was so incensed at a post-game interview when the Lakers outshot them at the free throw line in the fourth quarter, 23-2. You know, if there was ever a game that would spark a gambling controversy again like it did with Tim Donaghy in 2007, it would be this game. I don't think I've ever seen a free throw disparity this big in my life. At the same time, I don't think I've ever seen so many blowouts in one night than before either. On January 11th of 2024, it got so bad that the Celtics sat their starters out to start the second half. On the same day was when the Thunder gave that 62-point beating I spoke about earlier, and also on that day, the Suns blew out the Lakers. What was hilarious about this was that Ernie Johnson from TMT had to flip through games to keep the audience entertained, and the closest game he could find at the time was a 17-point deficit between the Mavericks and the Knicks.
I'm Ernie Johnson, so this game is out of hand, obviously. 100-62 is the score in Milwaukee. Celtics have resting the rest of their starters for the rest of the night. So we're thinking, let's see what else is going on in the league. And Oklahoma City, by the way, is up 36 at the half, so we're not going there. So we'll try the Knicks and the Mavs, and it's a 47-28 game. But it's closer than what's going on the mean streets.
Moving on here, Ben Simmons looks like he could be out of the league really soon. He's re-injured his back, still hasn't developed a jump shot, and with how high the talent level is these days in the NBA, the truth is, the one who was once dubbed the next LeBron James is probably going to be out of the league before LeBron James. It looks like the 76ers made the right decisions when they decided to stick with Embiid over Simmons. And speaking of the troll, two-time MVPs are becoming a dime a dozen these days. On the latest MVP ladder, Joel Embiid is once again at the top of the list. And if history repeats itself again, in the last 10 years, there would have been 4 back-to-back MVPs with Steph, Giannis, Jokic, and now Embiid.